per ton, and the new crop November contract gives up $4 at $6.7940 per ton. Gains in Chicago soy oil are trying to temper further losses in canola, but declines in soybeans and soy meal, as well as in Malaysian palm oil and European rapeseed, are weighing on values. Small upticks in global crude oil prices are lending a small amount of support to the vegetable oils. Canola crush margins recover some lost ground, with positions between $160 and $190 per ton above futures. Spring planting is said to be underway in some parts of the western prairies, but portions of the eastern prairies are a few weeks away from getting started. The Canadian dollar is virtually unchanged on Friday morning. The loonie is at 73.48 U.S. cents. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is expected to announce an emergency waiver to permit the sale of E15 gasoline in most states this summer. Flooding on the Mississippi River has closed all locks and dams above New Boston, Illinois for the next 3 weeks. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange is resetting some of the trading limits. Effective Monday, the daily limit for soybeans will be $1.05 per bushel. Soy oil goes to 4 cents per pound, while Chicago and Kansas City wheat move to 60 cents per bushel. Minneapolis wheat stays at 60 cents, corn remains at 45 cents, and soy meal holds at $30 per short ton. In light of poor yields, the Buenos Aires Grain Exchange is warning it could cut its 2022-23 soybean production estimate for Argentina to below 22.5 million tons. France reports its soft wheat crop is 94% good to excellent, marking a record high. Rounding off prices at the Chicago Board of Trade, soybean futures are lower on Friday morning. The July contract loses 3 cents at $14.01 per bushel. July soy oil adds about 0.6 of a cent at 51.44 U.S. cents per pound. July soy meal is down $2.60 at $424.80 per short ton. Corn is lower, with its July contract foregoing 7 cents at $5.74 per bushel. Oats are lower as well, with its July contract giving up 8 cents at $3.06. The U.S. wheat complex is mixed, as Chicago July is unchanged at $6.29. Kansas City July nudges up a quarter cent at $7.65.5, and Minneapolis July tacks on 3 cents at $7.88. That's a look at the ICE futures and Chicago markets for Friday morning, April 28th. For MarketsFarm.com in Winnipeg, I'm Glenn Halleck.
1989. That was 34 years ago. And that's how long Butler Farm Equipment has been providing farmers in the Peace Country with industry-leading equipment. Now that spring is here, you can count on Butler Farm Equipment to have a great selection of mowers, including Toro and Gravely Zero Turns, 3-point attachments, and landscaping equipment. Butler Farm Equipment. A job well done starts with great equipment. To learn more about their brands, including Toro and Gravely, visit butlerfarmequipment.ca.
The opinions expressed during this show do not represent those of this station. If you've missed any of this show, you can follow the podcast at energeticcity.ca. Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Welcome to the show. A little later on, we're going to be chatting with Fort St. John Huskies President Michael Bacso, all about the Huskies' historic season that was, and all about what we can look forward to next season. But first, 5 Treaty 8 First Nations and the provincial and federal governments announced earlier this month that they've settled treaty land entitlement claims dating back decades. To chat about what that means, we're joined now by Doig River First Nation representative Elder Margaret Davis and Brittany Robertson, also joining us today on Moose Talks. Good morning to both of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Morning.
So Elder Davis, the settlement, as we understand it, in general for everybody, is going to provide $800 million and 443 square kilometers, all going back to Treaty 8 First Nations. The government certainly called this a big moment in sort of their rollout of the messaging. What does this mean to you as someone who lives there and has lived there, I assume, most, if not all, of your life?
It is a big moment for us, for our First Nation, for Doig River First Nation. It's a long time coming. Mm-hmm. And and our people, elders, leaders, and councilors had worked on this case for many years.
I mean, this is, again, I'm assuming were you born and raised kind of at Doig River, Margaret?
Yes,
Yeah. So you've been watching this unfold for decades.
yes.
Did you think there would ever be a settlement that would come up in this? Did you have hope that this would happen?
We were hoping, so we have a lot of our elders that passed on had worked for this very hard. And it is very sad to see that some of them haven't seen this moment.
Yeah.
So it is, but the grandchildren and the children were able to see it, so that's a big moment for us.
What do you think this means to, kind of in general, the people of Doig River in terms of reconciliation, in terms of getting what is sort of maybe owed to you, if I can use that turn of phrase?
We were happy to see that finally the federal government has going to be working with us, and it's a big moment for us, and we were so happy. But we had to work on this for a long time. We planned everything what's going to happen if we get our settlement, so we were sort of prepared ourselves.
Yeah. Is it everything you wanted and hoped for when they announced it? Are you happy with exactly what was kind of given in this?
We were happy, and the saddest thing for us was the elders that has passed on. They would love to see this, what happened, become of what the work that they did with the leaders and councilors, but we have big plans for our, we have to prepare everything. We planned it out, what we're going to do with the money, and for our future leaders. Our young people are going to be our future leaders, so we got to work with them.
That's going to be my next question. Can you say kind of what your plans are for the money and for the land and what you're hoping to do with it?
We're going to buy more land, and we're going to see. We already planned what we're going to do with the money that we have to set aside. A lot of money that we have some older buildings and housing and education, and we plan all these, and we have to. We're going to do trade schools and do things for our young people. So we got a lot of things that we still got to work on. Get all these things. We can't do everything at once. So we got to plan it this year what we're going to do, and next year what's going to happen, and we got to keep going like that. Because I don't think with this kind of money you can't prepare everything 1 year. You got to think ahead. Yeah.
Well, when you say trade schools, do you mean like established, I guess, scholarships or tuition that will help people go to trade schools?
Yeah, we're trying to get our young people into carpentry and stuff like that. So the ones that don't want to go away to school, they do it locally, and that's how they train. the councilors and the leaders are behind them.
Yeah.
So we had plans for stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big question, but I think even the article we wrote, and I think the government talked about this too, about how this is a step towards reconciliation. What do you think is next? What's the next thing that has to happen to kind of continue on this path of reconciliation with the federal government, with the provincial government, with other stakeholders who are involved in sort of making this settlement happen?
It's a big step for us.
Yeah.
And but we can't do things alone. We have to work with them to get all these things happen. And just like we have trust that we committee and stuff like we have, and we all work together. And one person and just the leaders can't do it alone. We, some of us from each family, we sit on the committee. We all worked with them to get what we can do next.
Yeah. Well, Margaret, I really appreciate you taking some time to chat with us about this today. I know you came here from Doig River to chat with us about this moment. Thank you so much for offering your perspective on this and for taking a few minutes to chat with us. I really appreciate it. And thank you also for being here as well, Brittany.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Because with this, we want to prepare our people to improve like economic way of life, so they can one day they can do things for themselves. And we prepare our people like that.
And you think this helps in that?
Yeah, this helps.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's what I mean when I said quality of life.
Yeah.
They have to learn how to do things and teach their children and so on like that. At Doig, that's how we work with our young people. We work with them. And elders, we have elders group, and we sit down once in a while and we meet with the leaders, and we ask what we plan, what we should do next, what's the news now.
Yeah.
We tell them and what's going to happen, and then we start preparing for what's going to happen.
I suppose this sort of helps teach your children to keep on kind of moving forward and trying to work with the government, hammering away at them, if we want to put it that way, to keep making things better for people in Trinidad and Doig and whatnot, eh? Yeah.
Just like now we're preparing for Doig Days, which will happen in May 25. So there's a group, I sit on that committee too, and we prepare who's going to do what's going to happen, who's what money we have for food and stuff like. That's what we do with things at Doig.
Absolutely. Well, again, Elder Davis, thank you so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time and for coming out to see us. All right. Well, that's, as I said, Elder Davis and Brittany Robertson with Doig River First Nation joining me this morning on Moose Talks. We'll be right back to talk Huskies with Michael Bacso right after this.
For years, I suffered from my own skin issues. Then I had an idea. Hi, I'm Colin Wilborsa, owner of Can Have Today. As a local truck driver dealing with dry, cracked hands, I wanted to develop a product to help. I reached out to the right people, and now I'm extremely excited to be offering 4 amazing creams, including the award-winning Soothing Juggernaut. Can Have Today also won the Best Made Vegan Skincare Brand at the Canadian Business Awards for 2023. To learn more, visit canhavetoday.ca.
Change is constant. At Arctech Welding and Machining, change has focused on sustainability, using new technologies and solutions to cut our carbon footprint.
We've switched to recycled glass blasting material and have upgraded our diesel air compressors to electric to reduce airborne pollutants. For 22 years, Arctech has been on the forefront of industry changes, evolving, upgrading, and remaining fast, friendly, reliable. Visit arctech-welding.com.
I love this picture of us.
Me too, honey. Oh my gosh, we should enter the cutest couple contest.
Oh, heck yeah, we should. I have the app downloaded and I'm entering right now.
Think you're the cutest couple? Enter this month's Cutest Couple contest and you could win a $400 prize package. Cutest Couple is presented by the Pomeroy Hotel, Michael So Jewelry, Brad's Furniture and Appliances, The Flower Hut, Veronica's Closet, and Moose FM.
That was some party thanks to my buddy's beer and joint. Here's the keys, joint.
Yo, I'm not driving. I'm way too stoned. How are you feeling, beer?
Oh, since we had that talk, I'm not driving tonight at all.
What about you, Dave?
You only had a couple of drinks.
And only a couple of puffs.
I don't drink and drive. No way I'm getting behind the wheel when I smoked weed, too.
How are we getting home, then?
Come on, Dave. Take one for the team.
Don't let weed and alcohol influence your decision to drive.
Yeah, I need a ride.
A message from Mad Canada.
Can-Do Oilfield Services is a privately owned pipeline and facility installation company in Fort St. John. They strongly believe in executing all their job functions in a safe, cost-effective, timely manner. Can-Do Oilfield Services is a proud supporter of the oil and gas industry.
Watch this show live on Facebook or download the podcast at energeticcity.ca.
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dub Craig. Now we're going to talk a little hockey, especially the Fort St. John Huskies, as they did have another historic NWJHL season, but had some struggles in the provincial. So to talk a bit about the season as a whole and also what we can look forward to next year, we're joined by the president of the Fort St. John Huskies Hockey Club, Michael Bacso. Michael, thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dub.
So let's talk a bit about the historic season and all that. That must have been awesome to see. You kind of, I mean, you had probably the best season ever in the NWJHL history. What does that mean to you to see that happen again?
Yeah, coming off a provincial championship, you don't really know what to expect, and to rally off 35 straight wins and set a new record in the NWJHL is quite another feat.
Yeah, I think that's key too, because I mean the first 5-6 games were a little like you guys looked like a kind of a normal NWJHL team, up and down, and then just it never stopped from there. The party started and didn't end.
Yeah, I think we started off to a good start. I think we had 2 wins on the road, and then had a couple at home and lost 3 in a row or something, and that's it's something we hadn't experienced for a long time. Been with the club 8 years now, and we had a little bit of that in my first little bit, and last couple of years didn't experience anything, so it was a learning curve again.
Then you go to provincials, and it was a bit of a different story this year compared to last year. I think you lost the first 3 games, and then you won kind of the last one, so you didn't get into kind of the playoff kind of part of it, or the gold and silver medal games, or bronze medal games, I should say. What do you think happened there? Was it the teams were just gunning for you because you were repeat champions? What do you kind of attribute the struggles you had?
I think there's a multitude of things. I mean, coming in as defending champions, I definitely think you have a mark on you that the teams want to put their best forward. I don't think we were as healthy as we were last year. Leading scorer in the playoffs, Jackson McDonald, gets knocked out of the tournament his first shift of the game, and that mentally, I think the boys say they're tough, doesn't affect them. It always affects you when one of your teammates goes down. It's not something you want to see, and you try and push through it as best you can. And I don't think we weren't on our game top notch. I mean, it's a long season, and to win a provincial championship is no walk in the park per se.
Absolutely. Well, let's now look kind of forward to next season. There's lots of moving parts here, and I think we have to start with the BCHL looking at perhaps leaving Hockey Canada and how that could affect sort of some of the things that happen on the Fort St. John Huskies. As I understand it, there's sort of like a farm system where Junior B players can go play Junior A without a roster spot being kind of used up on that team. If the BCHL leaves Hockey Canada, that won't be the case anymore in the same way, and you may not have that way to entice players to your team. What kind of an effect do you think that and maybe other things that could happen would have on a team like the Huskies?
Well, I think there's a lot of things to look at with the BCHL looking to go independent status. Currently, we don't have any players that affiliate with the BCHL. The closest BCHL team is in Prince George. So to travel through the Rockies is kind of hard.
Yeah, so it's not like something that happens on this Junior B team.
Yeah. So in Junior B, it's gonna change the forefront if they do follow through with what's been reported. And it will trickle down for years to come. You talk about the BCHL going independent. Rumor is that a couple of the Alberta junior powerhouse teams might follow suit and might join that league. So for us in Fort St. John, it's kind of a waiting game to see what the new landscape of junior hockey in this area might look like, and in BC and Alberta.
And as you say, it could have a trickle-down effect too. Like, is this something the NWJHL has looked at? Like, well, if they go, maybe we consider our status in Hockey Canada?
No, I think we're comfortable right now where we are at Junior B. We have the small markets. We're back up to 8 teams. The league's relatively healthy, and as a small 8-team league, we feel we can do things that maybe the larger Junior B leagues can't. We just had our AGM. A couple new executive members on the NWJHL. They're going to have some fresh ideas and hopefully spin a little more business dollars into the league to help grow those teams as well. And it's a good future for the NWJHL.
Okay, well, that's good news then. But we also notice, of course, as we mentioned the last 2 seasons before, always the Fort St. John Huskies are very good, are really a dominant force in the NWJHL. We want to talk about Junior A for a bit here. Well, how would that look? Is this a team, a club that could look at maybe we belong in a different league with more elite players? Is that a conversation that has happened or a discussion that has happened? Is it a possibility of it happening at all?
Well, I think just with fans around, it's a conversation I've had personally with multiple people. My personal opinion is that Fort St. John could handle Junior A. I would see us going in the Alberta Junior Hockey League again for travel. We have a coaching staff in place with Todd Alexander that no doubt could go apples to apples with the AJHL. We have an executive and behind the scenes crew that puts in hours upon hours in the hockey season. That would be fine. We have a fan base that supports us better than some of those AJHL teams. Averaging 600, 700 fans this past year and topping out at over 1,500 in our playoffs in the championship round.
Which is so great to see, yeah.
It's so great to see. It's good for the club. It's good for the community. We have a facility in the Northeast Arena that they've just done some more upgrades to in the lighting. I believe the sound system's on the docket. Don't quote me on that. And they are game to work with the facility, it sounds like, to keep it up and running for as many years as needed until a new one's needed in Fort St. John. The thing that would be challenging for Fort St. John would be the costs with any organization. Your travel becomes 7-fold, 9-fold. You go into Brooks, Alberta, Okotoks, given not as much as your division, but when you would be in a division that would include the likes of Lloydminster, Fort McMurray, Whitecourt, the travel adds up. So I mean, you go from running a junior B organization that, let's say, has a budget of $150,000 annually to $900,000 annually.
So you have to have $1 million instead. Yeah.
Right. So could it be done? I think so. Would it take hours and dedication?
Mm-hmm.
You bet it would.
What, I mean, other than sort of the status of we're now a junior A club, we have more elite players, junior A level players, I should say, which if I remember right, major junior is kind of the next level up. So the dub is the next level higher, right? The WHL, I should say. What other benefits are there to doing this? What else would happen that would make this a good move for the Huskies to consider doing, other than the sort of status and status is the best word I can think of being a junior A club rather than a junior B club?
I think you look at the opportunities for the players and the opportunities for the community. We'll start with the players. We have programs and coaches in place. We have hockey academies in Fort St. John that we never had 10, 15 years ago, and then we do now. We have elite coaching staff, and Todd Alexander, Phil Hiscock runs numerous hockey camps, and these players are more. Fort St. John has better hockey players now than they did 10 years ago. We have players that are leaving Fort St. John to pursue junior A opportunities, and that I believe that would keep those kids at home when they're 16, maybe not mature enough to leave mom and dad, but still give them the a top hockey experience that junior B maybe just can't right now.
So essentially it could put Fort St. John more on the map as a hockey town, hockey hub in the Peace and beyond.
Absolutely. I mean, have you ever heard of Brooks, Alberta, besides the Brooks Bandits? My understanding is that they're known for their meat plant, right? So, but then you hear of a player, Cale Makar, gets drafted in the NHL, is now an elite defenseman, talks about best in the league, coming from a junior A league in Canada. That's something to aim for.
Yeah. Wonderful. All right. Well, Michael, we really appreciate you taking a few minutes to chat with us, kind of give us a state of the team and the league, and we'll have to have you on again as we get closer to next season. Thanks so much for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
You're very welcome. That's Michael Bacso. Turned off the wrong microphone there. Michael Bacso, the president of the Fort St. John Huskies. We'll be right back after this on Moose Talks.
Hi, I'm Bob Zimmer, your Member of Parliament for Prince George, Peace River, Northern Rockies. I'm honored to work hard for you and be your voice in Ottawa. If you need assistance, please stop by my Fort St. John office at 9916 100th Avenue. We're open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, or call 250-787-1192. We look forward to seeing you.
For a delicious taste that's set in stone, head to Joe's Pizza Stone, now open in Fort St. John. You'll absolutely love their classic, gourmet, or create your own pizzas, all made from scratch and cooked on a hot stone. Joe's Pizza Stone also has wings, calzones, pastas, sandwiches, donaires, and so much more. Order today through Skip the Dishes or walk on in and order in store. Joe's Pizza Stone, hot stones, cool taste. Now open 7 days a week on 100th Street across from the BC Liquor Store. Visit joespizzastone.ca.
Committed to their people, to exceptional service, and to the environment. That's what you can expect from Trican Well Service. As the leader in energy services and the largest pressure pumping service company in Canada, Trican Well Service focuses on providing industry-leading value for the oil and gas industry in Western Canada with specialized services including fracturing, cementing, and coiled tubing. Trican Well Service, sustainable service solutions. To learn more, visit tricanwellservice.com.
Yes, you could fulfill your dream of having a career with the railroad. If you have a high school diploma or equivalents, a safety mindset, and meet some other basic requirements. CN offers paid training to those hired. Enjoy a long-term career with an attractive salary and benefits package. We hire for the role of train conductor, mechanic, track worker, laborer, and more. For a rewarding career, visit cn.ca/careers to learn more. That's cn.ca/careers. Get your career moving. Join us.
Micro Consulting presents the Luke Combs Contest.
That girl is going on.
Where you could win a pair of tickets and gas cash to see Luke Combs in Vancouver on May 27th, 2023.
She got the best of me.
All you have to do, call us when you hear your cue to call, and then finish the lyrics when you get through. moosefm.ca/win for more details. The Luke Combs Contest is presented by Micro Consulting and Moose FM.
Moose Country weather.
The sun is out and it is looking like it's going to stay out. Today we are going to see a high of 16 degrees. Later tonight it's going to dip to 2 degrees. Now tomorrow on our Saturday we are going to see a high of 20 degrees under sunny skies, and on Sunday a high of 24 under sunny skies.
Our community first. This is Moose Talks with Dub Craig on Moose FM.
Our thanks to our guests, Elder Margaret Davis and Michael Bacso, for joining us today on the show. I did want to quickly mention, we forgot to talk about it, but the Fort St. John Huskies will be hosting their annual general meeting coming up on May 9th. If you want some more information about that and anything Huskies, the best way to do that is to check out their Facebook page. Speaking of checking things out, make sure you check out the podcast version of this episode and older episodes of Moose Talks over at energeticcity.ca/podcasts. Trey Lopashinsky and Jordan Prentice are the producers of the show. I'm Dub Craig. Be well.
Join us next Friday at 10 a.m. for another episode of Moose Talks, a weekly talk show about Fort St. John and the North Peace.